the number one tip that has worked for me when it comes to networking is being introduced by someone. What do I mean by that? What I mean is someone introduces you to another person, and that person who introduces you already has a relationship with the person you're being introduced to. And why is that important? Well, I'll give you a few examples of why it's important, and then you'll understand why it's important. So let's take an example that you can relate to. So let's take your best friend, for example. They have just read a book and they recommend it to you. Oh my God, this book's amazing. I couldn't put it down. You really need to buy it. Compare that to an advert for the same book. If there was an advert for the same book, would you rather listen to the advert or your friend? Of course, you're going to listen to your friend. Why wouldn't you listen to your friend? You're more likely to buy from them or buy as a result of them telling you because you trust them. That relationship's already there compared to a random advert. I'm not saying advertising doesn't work, but I'm saying if you compare that to word of mouth, it's so much more powerful. And there's a book about the word of mouth, actually, about this topic. I've forgotten what it's called. Let me see if it comes to me. No, it's not coming to me now. I can see the cover in my mind. It's upstairs. Anyway, I will link to it below. But the reason that it's important is I'll give you an example from my professional life, from work, and then from podcasting. So I already told you about the friend scenario, and I'm sure you can agree that if your friend had recommended something, you're more likely to buy it. Now, in a professional sense, I was at work and I had to onboard a candidate for a particular position that was going, and this director really liked him, but he couldn't do anything because he was so busy, and there was someone else that was looking after the recruitment process. So he CC'd his friend, who was a director who did look after that stuff in the company. And I didn't even know this guy existed until I got introduced. And he said, look, Vipul's got this person. I really want him to work for me. Can you sort it out? Blah, blah, blah. And long story short, the guy is now there. He's happy. Both parties are happy. But the point of the story is that the person who was CC'd, the other director, I would have never known him. I would have never known that he existed. And even if I did, if I approached him, more than likely, he would have turned me away. But because his friend introduced me and CC'd him in, he was more receptive to me because he thought, right, this person's bringing value. Of course, my friend, the other director, has introduced me to this person called Vipul. Of course, I'm going to listen to him and listen to what he has to say. Now, in the podcasting world, where I've been building a network of guests, it's worked fantastically because once you speak to someone and they see what you're about and they like you, you then ask the question, who else do you know? Who else can you introduce me to? And who else do you think will enjoy this conversation? Or whatever it is that you're talking about at the time. And, they'll give you a name or whatever. And more than likely, you'll be introduced to someone that you may not have known existed, or you didn't know that you could contact that person in the way that they've contacted them. Because there may not be emails for these people online anymore. Everyone's got a social media profile, but they may remove their emails. So having a direct email or direct contact with these people is vital when it comes to networking or, meeting new people that you want to meet. And so I was then CC'd into an email with a CEO of a really big company, and that I'm very proud to now know. And he only did that because he thought, I had a really good time with Vipul on the podcast. Let me introduce him to my friend. And his friend responded saying, thanks for the introduction. I'm really enthusiastic that my friend is this enthusiastic about your podcast, but I don't regularly do podcasts. But because he said so, that he had a good time, I'm open to setting up a conversation between us. And so that tells me that this would have never happened had I cold emailed him or cold called him or something like that. So the key takeaways from this, it's a short video. I'm going to keep it short and sweet. Is if you want to build your network and you're looking to make more friends, or you want to build your network at work and meet more senior people, or even in your business, you want to meet more customers, whatever it is, word of mouth is more powerful. And so you want to build an individual relationship with each person and then ask them to introduce you. because being introduced is more powerful than you approaching the person directly. So I hope that helps you guys with whatever it is that you're struggling with when it comes to networking and building relationships with people. This is just something that's worked for me. I'll keep sharing tips and ideas that work for me along the way. So yeah, take it away, do something with it, actually act on it and see if it works for you. And remember, you're only one decision away from becoming a legend.